Hello, fans of the Monday Movie Club. What's going on? All right, so Joel has us bonded once again with on Her Majesty's Secret Service. We've been watching the Bonds as they were released, I guess, since I don't know when. And this one's from 1969. It's number 2659 on the Franken list, right around the midpoint. I'm not even going to ask Joel why, because we know why. All right, so Joel, what are you wearing postcards? What is that?
It's a Hawaiian shirt. That's all.
Oh,
It's
it looks like postcards on it, like
yeah,
little
there are postcards on it.
flags.
These
What
are
are,
all the
okay.
places that Bond has been across the world.
Oh, sure, yeah. Very appropriate shirt.
Yeah.
Mark Wotis Gartner does not have a picture up.
I'm
No fuck, no cringer,
yeah.
but he's right
Right
here.
here.
And what is right here that he's sitting on?
Couch.
You right next to the couch?
Mhm.
Yeah, I put the bed over there where the couch used to be, and I bought
Right.
a love seat for right here, and I'm right next to it.
Yep.
I think you need to send us all a floor plan of what the place
Yeah.
used to look like and what it looks like. No, no, no. I don't want pictures. I want an actual
Oh, so
diagram
this
for.
table, this table is just a little table you put over
This
there.
is a desk that I bought, a two-level desk, and it lights up and everything, and my coffee table is now.
Ah, that's a little tight there.
Oh my God, I'm leaning on the couch. My desk is only like 32 inches. It's
All
very
right,
nice.
and Annie King in the kitchen where she belongs. Slightly
Hey,
different angle.
Anakin.
I see flowers on the table.
Hmm.
Mother's
Okay.
Day.
For Mother's Day.
On Mother's Day? No.
No, I buy my own flowers. I can buy myself flowers.
Ah,
Very nice.
very nice. I
That sounds like a
do.
woman who does not rely on anybody to get her flowers for specific holidays and celebrations.
It also sounds like Miley Cyrus
Mhm.
Yes.
in
But
her
I
song.
do. I do like to have fresh flowers in the house. I do.
Yes.
All right. Well, here's a plot. Agent 007, George Lazenby, in his only Bond appearance, and the adventurous Tracy DiVincenzo, played by Diana Rigg, joined forces to battle the evil. They joined forces to battle the evil Spectre organization in the treacherous Swiss Alps. But the group's powerful leader, Blofeld, played this time by Telly Savalas, is launching his most calamitous scheme.
Who the fuck wrote this shit?
Yeah, a germ warfare plot that could kill millions.
Oh no.
Oh no. Wait, I'm going to give you some Bond statistics since I was bored and I looked shit up. According to the Franken list,
Mm,
Goldfinger is number one.
sure.
Daniel Craig's Casino Royale and Skyfall are number two and three. From Russia with Love is number four. The Spy Who Loved Me rounds out the top five.
Wow.
This one is number 17 of the
Out
Bond
of,
films.
out of,
I like that top three makes a lot of
26?
sense.
26? How many,
that's
Joel?
not the
26.
worst.
There are 25.
26 with the fake thing you made us watch.
Well, yeah, and I guess if you want to count Never Say Never Again, there's 27. So
27.
Joel, did we watch
Crit
from Russia with Love already?
yeah,
did, yes.
Shit.
we have watched everything up to this point.
Right.
No, I didn't know if that was
Critic-wise,
anyway.
going on.
So,
Critic-wise, again, Goldfinger is still number one. And two, three, and four are the same. Casino Royale, Skyfall, From Rush with Love. But number five is Doctor No. And critic-wise, this one is number 10 instead of 17. Okay, then the grosses. I know you need to know. Adjusted for inflation, Thunderball is number one. Then Goldfinger, Skyfall, You Only Live Twice, and Moonraker is number five.
Wow.
Hmm.
This one is number 22. So I think that was part of the reason. But I thought that was the only reason that George Lazenby didn't continue. But then I
Actually,
read it was
tech,
his choice. He's like, I
tech,
don't want to do it.
yeah.
technically, the box office grosses had nothing to do with it. By the time the film came out, he was walking away.
Yeah.
So
How did they only sign him for one?
He wouldn't sign for the other
he
six.
wouldn't sign for the others. They figured he would once he saw how much publicity and fame he got from it, they could sign him for the others.
Yep.
And he got really bad advice from his agents. And his agent was like, Bond's a passing fad. It's over. It's done. Not much is
It's
going to happen
fizzled
with it.
out.
Yeah,
And it certainly would have in his hands.
yeah. No, I'm going to
I don't
disagree with
agree.
that, but we'll
Yeah.
we'll talk about that later. Um, he had decided that he was done, and when he showed up for publicity, he didn't look like Bond. He looked like
Right.
a hippie. He was doing everything he could possibly do to walk away, and he will admit that he was an idiot. He knows he was an idiot.
But the more important thing was they backed up the Bank of London truck to Sean Connery, and he
Uh,
agreed to do the one.
yeah, it was partially that, and partially a few other things that they promised him that they gave him in addition. But yes, but they
All right,
even with that,
we'll get to that.
they were auditioning
We'll get
other
to
people, but we'll get to that next time.
next month. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. So observations while watching. It was a fun intro when they kind of, you didn't see him at first, and then him saying this never happened to the other fella right to the
Yes.
camera. Very, very cute. And boobies for Mark right up front in the credits.
And one of the
Oh, the
ladies.
feet right up
Yeah,
front.
that was in bed. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I saw this one in the movies when I was 11. My father took me to see this movie in the movies because I definitely remember the ending. And Diana Rigg is great. This is right after the Avengers ended, so I guess she was trying to transition to a movie career. But what is the accent that George Lazenby is doing? I mean, he's Australian.
Hmm?
And then he had no prior acting credits. He was a model. He's a little stiff, and he doesn't quite have that sparkle in his eye that Sean Connery does. Like he's not so much knowing he's making that joke or that sly comment,
Yeah.
I feel. That charming smirk is what I wrote. And amazingly, he was only 30 years old. I mean, he looks like he's 40 at least.
Yeah.
And then there were some cringeworthy things. Diana Rigg's father thinking she needs a man who can dominate her. And then he gets 3 weeks leave, and Diana Rigg just happens to be there. Nice.
She didn't happen to be there. If you were paying attention, her father told her where he'd be.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know.
And then the song, the little montage of the song. And I know this is Joel and Natasha's wedding song, but it's not a great Bond theme. It was actually
it's not a Bond theme. It never
It's
was.
not?
It's no, because it's not a Bond theme plays over the opening credits.
Right.
This did not. So
What played over the opening credits?
Instrumental piece by John Barry.
Well, it was a fast forward moment for me.
Oh,
It was sweet. And then somebody mentioned the world is not enough. I'm like, oh, that's coming up.
yeah, yes.
And then, of course, like Clark Kent, Bond's big disguise was putting on glasses. The big disguise. And then
he changed his voice too.
Right, I read that somebody else dubbed the voice.
Well, the actor who played the actual character that he was impersonating dubbed his voice.
Yeah.
Oh,
It was
okay.
so
I'm sure
much
they thought that
dubbing
was
in this
clever.
movie.
Say again, Amy?
There was so much dubbing in this movie.
That's
Lord.
why
Well,
they
I
did
mean,
that.
that was a typical procedure back
Oh,
in the
yeah.
day.
Yeah.
Because they would just film outside and not care and then redub everything.
Well, plus they were also in certain instances they'd be using actors who had thick European accents that
Right.
needed to be smoothed out in some way. So
They wouldn't today.
no,
And of course, it's all women in the lair. And what was the weird obsession with the food?
I got it.
Showing all the.
I got it. The
Yeah.
corn, the chicken, the potatoes, these are all crops and stuff that you would kill with the bio warfare.
Oh,
I got it.
good job, Annie.
Excellent.
yeah. I didn't get the connection.
either.
On that. This is
Very
just
good.
weird.
I thought it was all related to their allergies that they were.
Well, that's
trying-
part of it, but yes, they're also all crops that would be affected by biological warfare.
And then the one girl riding with her lipstick on his leg.
That was a perfect 8.
I know, and it was upside down to her.
Yeah. And then just a slight stiffness coming on.
Oh
I
my
have a note
God.
on that. Come
Oh
on.
No
my-
doubt.
Wow.
No doubt. And they think
But yes,
he's gay.
Joel, I did watch the documentary, so I know what was in the under the skirt. We'll talk about that later.
What was under the skirt? I
A
didn't watch
giant
it.
Nothing.
bratwurst.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Over an hour till Bond meets Blofeld, Telly Savalas. I had no problem with him. He was fine. Did a good job. But why didn't he recognize Bond?
I know.
They met in the last movie, didn't they?
Yes, technically.
Donald Pleasance.
We'll get
The
to some issues.
glasses.
Yeah.
Frank, don't I look completely different? Hello.
Yes, you do.
Especially when you cross your eyes that way.
I
It's
crossed my
nerd, not nerd.
eyes.
Nerd, not nerd.
Where you gotta go.
Well,
Oh.
didn't they meet in the last one? That's what Joel's question.
Yeah, but they met in an exploding volcano. It's chaotic. You don't know what's going to be going on, but I'll touch
I
more
can't
base on
imagine they don't have dossiers and don't know what James Bond looks like. Okay.
And fucking
And the
MySpace.
plot is ridiculous. And the way he smokes a cigarette, Mary
Oh my
Oh,
God, Luke just
I have
like
a note
this.
on that.
Yeah.
What a complete douche.
please, Mary. Okay. And then, I mean, the safe cracking scene was a good one, but for me, it was moving a little tortuously slow in the middle part. So convoluted. That lost a half a star for me, for sure. And still very much a 60s movie with the chase sequences and those blue screens. We're driving the car, but no, we're not. We're in a studio. And the day for night crap. And the Manchurian Candidate plot. He had a lot of guts, but spraying them all over the mountain was a little gross,
Nah.
Another cornball joke.
right? 3 boys and 3 girls. Oi, what is that? 3 boys and 3 girls. Oh, she wants 3 boys and 3 girls. Like, okay, and the editing on the fight scenes was ridiculous. What the hell? Like a close up, a close up, a close up. I'm like, what is going on right now?
Well,
By
that's
fight,
go ahead,
by
Amy.
fight scene, do you mean the sled? The bobsled
No,
scene?
the
I
very
don't
first
know that one.
fight scene where
All the
he
fight
ju-
scenes.
If you go back and look at all the
I'm sure he
previous,
was trying to be innovative, but it was
well,
just
no, it was
clumsy.
if you look at the previous films, Peter Hunt was the editor on the first 4 Bond films. I think he did some second unit directing on You Only Live Twice, but he created a specific style that helped make the movies work, where he would cut frames from things, make things jittery and jerky, and it was innovative at the time. By this point, it's getting a little monotonous. But
Not only monotonous, but I want to see a fight scene. I don't want to see a close up of a face, a gun.
well, they're trying to make things, move is what it was. So
Yeah. They should have done that in the middle part of the movie. On the plus side, the last third of the movie was fun, outracing the avalanche, and Diana Rigg was perfect. And the whole thing with them getting married and then the drive-by fruiting that happens. The romance is great. And it kind of resets the tone for the Bond films, because up until now he wasn't really human. He was a super spy. So I'm giving it points for that. But I think it was handled better in the Daniel Craig movies. The wife and the dying. So I'm giving it 3 stars. Didn't hate it. It was good in places. Aang, were you tortured?
I was not.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Frank, what did you say was the highest rated movie on your list? Not Dr. No.
Goldfinger.
Goldfinger. I looked up when you said that what I gave Goldfinger, and I think it was 2.75. So just putting that out there. I wrote.
Yeah, and that's really sad.
I know. I am not
she's not
the
a Bond
only
fan.
Bond. What?
You're not a Bond fan. That's okay.
I'm not a Bond fan. The only one I had ever seen was
Casino Royale.
what? The one in the
Casino-
70s at
Moonraker.
Fresh Meadows.
Moonraker.
Octopussy.
Spy Who Loved Me.
It's by Love.
Bio.
That's the
I
only
love
one I had ever seen before Joel did all this to us. So I'm not a fan. But I wrote, there's nothing like the sound of screeching tires on sand and later in snow. Bond's first line, "This never happened to the other fella," and then looking at the camera was adorable. I didn't take notes while watching because everything I thought of was just one of those, oh, come on, this is ridiculous type notes, which because there are so many ridiculous moments in Bond movies. I am narrating this as I'm watching the ridiculous bobsled scene. We are at the point where each cut is but 1 second long, and goddamn, these sleds are going well over 100 miles an hour. Good Lord. It was just, the cutting was killing me. That's the scene I
Yeah.
thought you were talking about. It was just unbearable with the quick edits. Hated it. And we just got to the part where Blofeld crashed into the tree and was left hanging by his neck. I thought that was great, but then I hated the stupid comment Bond made. He's branched off. A lot of these really corny jokes were just not working. Let's leave the humor in the 60s to Mel Brooks. Dopey, like the great scene, I don't know what that means, where the guy was caught in the wood. Oh, dopey lines, like when he was caught in the wood chipper, and he said, he's got a lot of guts. And then the last thing I wrote was, oh my God, the puppy, when he saw the St. Bernard. Finally, I will agree with Joel, however, who said last week that the movie doesn't feel painfully long when I complained that it was almost 2.5 hours long. It was a fairly fun ride, and I am actually going to give it 3.25 stars.
Wow.
I think out of all the Bonds we've watched, this was my favorite. I liked George Lazenby. Like I said before, because of Joel's recommendation, I did watch Being Bond or Becoming Bond last night when I remembered, oh my God, terrible documentary. It was 90 minutes long. And for the first 54 minutes, he talked about nothing but girls and fucking every woman he sees in real life. But it was cute the way they did it with real actors like Jeff Garlin and Jane Seymour as in a documentary. But it was fun. I did like him.
Annie King, how are you doing in the Bond mania?
I like Bond. I've seen a lot of the I guess when I started watching it, so I never saw like the ones in the 60s and stuff. I had not seen this one. And I thought like, oh God, 2.5 hours. But it was actually better than I thought. And some of it was slow. I was like, okay, move on with it. It did feel a little like an ad for the Winter Olympics. They just threw every single winter sport in there, you know. I thought it was pretty decent. I was like, oh, good, it's not underwater, this one. And then I was like, oh, it's all snow events.
But the snow was fun, and it was also beautiful.
And curling.
And
Yes.
curling,
Yeah.
I have a note on that. Yeah.
way back when, yeah. Skiing down the mountain on one ski I was like, okay, enough of the skiing, you know. Yeah, I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was better than some of the ones we've seen. Like it just felt probably more like the later ones, like
More modern.
yeah, more modern ones where it had more. It wasn't just all. Although, like, I really hated him for sleeping with the two girls at when he was really digging, you know,
Diana
Riggs. Yeah, I was like, you're such a slut. But okay.
That's to me, that's James Bond. He's gonna do that every time.
When
and then a day later, you're like, will you marry me?
Yeah.
I was
It's a bit
well,
much.
because then he knew he made the right decision.
I liked when I was reading the plot line, it listed every girl and their real name. And when I saw Joanna Lumley, I was like, Joanna Lumley was one? Who's she? Why do I know the name? She was from AdFab.
Yeah. There was a very Joe, if you go back to watch the movie or just pick up photos from the scene, she's wearing in the dinner scene where they're all eating, she's wearing a black dress with like some diamond necklace thing, and her hair's kind of done up. You won't recognize her, but it's her. So
funny. I certainly didn't recognize her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was fun and a little creepy. His voice, like when they're sleeping and everything in the bedroom and the lights come on and stuff, that was like kind of wild. But otherwise, yeah, I enjoyed it. It wasn't torturous at all. I would give it 3 stars.
Mark, did you see this one before?
Yeah, with Joel's help, about a decade ago, we watched all the Bonds. So, excuse me, I think I mentioned last month that I wouldn't say I'm a Bond fan, but I do enjoy them. Like Joel is a true Bond fan, so I'm not in that level, but I've seen all of them. I've enjoyed some more than others. I really like. I'm a Daniel Craig Bond fan. I've seen them multiple
Or-
times. I really do
Okay.
like them. But I remember remember this one. I remember liking it a lot. I remember liking George Lazenby, and I wish he had continued because I do not like Roger Moore. Although I appreciate him more now. I also think pretty much you guys have mentioned like every single one of my notes, but I'm going to say it anyway. I love the breaking of the fourth wall in the opening scene. With that never happened to the other guy. I will say my one dig is the fight scenes, and Amy already mentioned this. Fight scenes left much to be desired, and there were a lot of bad cuts and sped up scenes throughout the whole movie. It just was pretty bad with that. I don't know if maybe he's just not a good like Sean Connery maybe could do the fight scenes better. That's why they had to constantly cut. I don't know. Maybe he just wasn't good physically, even though he was clearly in shape. But and yes, just a slight stiffness coming on was that this is what I remembered. Amy, I had said to you like, oh, there's a lot of like sexual innuendos in this. And it wasn't as many as I thought, but that scene was what I was thinking of, I guess, in my head. That was my
Yeah.
memory. Um and then the callback to it a little bit later the next morning was great. But having said that, I will admit the lines throughout the whole movie by the end almost seemed like a parody. It was a little bit too much with the one-liners. And who knew curling existed in 1969? Telly Savalas, again, smoked cigarettes like a douche. Um, and I called
That
the
I
no, I saw both things coming. I saw the Mulan avalanche before it happened, and the wood chipper. As soon as I saw the wood chipper, I was like, "Oh, one of those guys is going in there." So, and and I had flashbacks to Apocalypse Now with those helicopters at dawn. Um, the bobsled chase was ridiculous, and poor Moneypenny, very sad. Uh, for me, it was a little bit too long, but enjoyable. I'm somewhere between a 3 and a 3.25, so I'll let you guys pick. I don't know. Three two
Joel
five.
was did he bang Money Penny at some point? Do
No,
we think?
no,
No.
There it
So
has.
why is
no.
she crying?
Well,
Because,
because she loves him.
she loves him. Yeah. She's happy to see him married, sad for that this, flirtation will probably have to stop. But
No, knowing James Bond, it wouldn't
it
stop.
wouldn't stop. But
And we're not going to watch this until in like another 15 years. But I will say that in Skyfall, it's the introduction of Moneypenny, which was great.
yes, well, Moneypenny in Fleming's original novels was just M's secretary. There's nothing
Yeah.
else to her.
Yeah, yeah,
Obviously they changed the character by the
right.
time you get to the Daniel Craig films and they reintroduce her. She's an agent who is forced into, desk work by, some of her actions. So, which I
Yes.
think an interesting and neat twist. So,
Yep.
Joel, what are the dolls there? You didn't say.
oh, well, George Lazenby's right here.
All right, bring them
Telly
closer so
Savalas.
we can see.
Oh, you want me? All right, wait. Here's the original Fleming novel.
Okay.
My
It
little
looks like a reproduction,
It is
yeah.
a it's a reproduction. Here is the steel book, the Blu-rays in the steel book. It's no 4K yet. Here is Mr. Lazenby as James Bond.
Oh my God, it's
Okay.
fabulous.
Hmm.
Here is Telly Savalas as a Blofeld.
So,
He,
Joel, how do you think Telly Savalas did?
I like him a lot as whoops,
Yeah.
binoculars later.
Is he
Uh,
your favorite Blofeld?
um, that's a tough one.
There's been so many.
There have been a few. There have been at least three, four,
Four,
five, six if you
five.
want to count. Yeah. Well, it's Donald Pleasance and You Only Live Twice. Telly Savalas in this film. Next film we'll see Charles Gray, who played Henderson in the
Yes.
last film. He's back as Blofeld. There's an
And he
actor.
was also in Rocky Horror.
Yes. Max von Sydow plays Blofeld in Never Say Never Again, and Christoph Waltz plays him in the Daniel Craig films.
Oh,
So, and
Just
then
just once though, right?
no, he's in both Spectre and No Time to Die.
Okay.
And then technically in the official canon, he makes an appearance in the beginning of For Your Eyes Only, but they never call him Blofeld because there were some rights issues. But it's a bald guy in a wheelchair with a white cat. Who else would it be?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um,
Mike Myers?
sure, it could have been Mike Myers, just several decades before we had Dr. Evil.
Sure.
So, anyway, so this is going to be the last film really based on Fleming's work for quite some time. The,
Wow.
the previous film we saw them take, okay, we're going to take the title and a few characters and the setting and throw everything else out the window. For this, they go back to Fleming, and it's a very faithful adaptation of Fleming's novel, right down to the unhappy ending. The unfortunate
Now, wait
problem
a
is
minute. Now, how many novels did he actually write?
Fleming, I forgot it from my head. I think it's 12 novels and two short
Wow. So
stories.
there's 12 movies right there. What the hell's wrong with people in Hollywood?
Well, it was, they picked things based on what they thought would be good at the time. The intention
Right.
was to do on Her Majesty's Secret Service right after Thunderball, but Switzerland was having a very warm year, so they kind of had to put it off. So they went through the rest of the canon and was like, all right, let's do this film. It takes place in Japan. It could be fun, but let's, farm out the script to Roald Dahl and tell them just to do it this way. The problem with that is in the order of the books, the Blofeld trilogy is Thunderball on Her Majesty's Secret Service, then You Only Live Twice. Bond is out looking for revenge, looking for Blofeld in that film, in that book. In the film,
Okay.
they moved it up, so it's their first meeting. So then
Technically.
they went back technically, they went back to this. So
So technically, this takes place before the film we already watched.
theoretically, if you
Theoretically.
want to reorder it like the books, but you could
So
if you
that
wanted to.
explains why he didn't recognize him.
That's part of it. I think part of it is Blofeld did recognize him and was like, I'm going to see where this plays out until I have to, capture him and say, all right, we're done with
Yeah,
this bullshit.
yeah, he didn't.
So,
He didn't seem that clever.
no.
Joel, a very important question. Was what's her name? Helga, whatever the German woman, was she the inspiration for Frau Farbissina?
It's a combination of her and Rosa Klebb in from Russia with Love.
Yeah, with the knife and
The knife shoes?
Yeah, the knife shoes.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So,
yeah, but
um,
that stereotypical German woman,
yeah,
that's a little cruel now.
yeah. And obviously there are things about just the Bond films in general that haven't aged well. And we've talked about the misogyny. There's some, weird racism. There's some, other stuff in there that just doesn't quite hit the
Wait
way
a
it should.
minute. Weird racism? I think
Yeah.
racism is not weird racism. Racism.
I don't know. Dressing Sean Connery up as a Japanese farmer is just weird and racist. So
Okay. But I'm happy that he wore the kilt. That was cute.
yeah, yeah, it was nice to see. And as you said, you get the Bond family motto is the world is not enough. So we'll get to that film eventually. Um, you know, as an adaptation of Fleming's novel, it's great, and it's one of Fleming's better novels as well. Peter Hunt, who graduated from editor of the first four films to a second unit director to director of this film, kept a copy of the novel with him. He had annotations in it at all times, and that's what they would go back to. And I think it really shows that they were really trying hard. But at the same time, you have this weird transition where you're trying to transition from an actor who is very popular in the role to an unknown. And this will happen a couple more times throughout the series, where you kind of feel like, all right, part of the script was written for the previous guy, and now we're retailoring it or trying to retailor it a little bit for this new guy. I think some of the lines that Connery would have easily pulled off, Lazenby doesn't, because he is brand new. You
And
know,
he's 30 years old.
yeah. I think Mark, you mentioned some of the editing, and maybe they were trying to edit around some of his fight style and stuff.
Yeah.
That I think that's definitely part of it because in his fight choreography audition, he went into these auditions with no clue as to how any of this works. He went to Sean Connery's tailor and basically bought a suit that Sean Connery had never picked up. So this way he was in a Connery outfit when he was auditioning. But there was something about him that Broccoli and Saltzman really liked. When they did the fight choreography audition, he smacked the guy right in the face, with a punch. And they were like, okay, we need to really teach you how to work all this stuff. Um, I like Lazenby in the role. He's not Connery. He is different. He has more of a human side to him, I think, especially as you go through the Connery films. He tends to get more, superhuman as he goes along a little bit. But I think had Lazenby stuck with the role, and they had kept Peter Hunt on as director, they would have created a replication to an extent because you had Terrence Young molded Sean Connery in those first two films, and I think you could have seen Peter Hunt doing something similar here that just wasn't going to happen after, Lazenby was like, well, I'm done. Um,
I
eh,
liked him better than Sean Connery.
it's okay.
Wow.
It's okay. You're not the only person. There
Okay.
are Bond fans are, I don't want to say they're split. They tend to say this is a better film than a lot of what Connery did. Specifically because it's based on the book and it's very faithful. But there are people who do like Lazenby better than Connery, even with this one outing. But I think he shows a good promise that just was unfortunately never really fulfilled.
Yeah, yeah, that
Um,
makes sense.
Frank, I,
Hey,
I
did
will
he do
say
anything after that?
Lazenby?
The movies? Yeah.
Yeah, he did some movies.
Yeah.
So he probably would have had a career resurgence if Bruce Lee hadn't died. He was actually in the process of meeting with Bruce Lee and talking to him about playing the villain in I forget what Bruce Lee's next film was called that they were working on when Bruce Lee died, but he probably would have had some sort of career resurgence from that had it gone through. He lingered in the background in for a while. He did some Italian comedies and stuff and things like that. He actually, you're slightly wrong in the sense of saying he never played James Bond again because he actually did in the Return of the Man from Uncle. He has a cameo role where he's sitting in an Aston Martin. And the license plate specifically, it just has the letters J and B on it. So it's like it's obvious who they're trying to, make it seem like. And it's a bit of a fun piece in a TV movie, from another franchise. But I think he went into real estate later in his life. I don't
Yeah,
know what he's been
yeah.
doing of late. He's still alive. He's still around.
Yeah.
Obviously.
I
Uh,
saw I saw in his Wikipedia he's like 83 or
yeah.
something.
He uh
So
he did do as I recommended Becoming Bond. Yes, it's not a great documentary. It's
Oh my God.
but it's an interesting piece, and he definitely takes responsibility for his own life choices. Um, you
It's
know,
an interesting piece for the last 30 minutes of this
yeah, I know. It's
90-minute thing.
you have to do kind of get through the first 60 though to understand where he's coming from though,
But he
unfortunately.
seems like the fun, your fun uncle, your
Yeah,
funkle, for
exactly. He
Oh,
sure.
does. Yeah.
Oh my God, he's adorable. And he
Yeah.
barely has an accent anymore.
Yeah. No, he's
Amy, do you think that was what made you give it 3.25 watching the
No, I
documentary?
had thought that yesterday afternoon. I didn't remember to watch the doc until last night, and I had already made my notes and my decision. Sure.
All right.
I love Diana Rigg. I think she's
Yeah.
perfect in that role. I really do like Telly Savalas as Blofeld. He's a hands-on
Yeah.
Blofeld. He's not Donald Pleasance, where it's like, "Ow, I'm going to run off." Kill Bond now. You do it. I don't want to handle it. He's hands-on. He has no problems with that. And I like that about him because that's closer to who Blofeld was in the books. The other thing about Blofeld in the books is his physical features do change from book to book because he's trying to either disguise himself or he's sickly or something like that. So having different actors play him does kind of make sense in the films in that way. Um, as to whether
Can
he's
I
the
ask
best,
you why almost every movie it's a different actor?
I think part of it is they're kind of going with that, and part of it is they're retooling things. I don't know why they didn't bring back Donald Pleasance. Part of it is probably because they were bringing in a new Bond. Let's bring in a new Blofeld to match him. It's probably something similar as well going into the next film since they're bringing back Sean Connery, but Donald Pleasance may not have been available. Maybe they thought Donald Pleasance was too old at that. I don't know. You
And
know,
Telly Savalas was up and coming at the time, right?
yeah, he had been in a few films, and
Yeah.
he wasn't at Kojak level yet, but he
Yeah,
was
yeah.
heading in that direction. And I like him. As to whether he's the best Blofeld, there's things to not like about him. There's things I like about Christoph Waltz. There's things I don't like about Christoph Waltz. But anyway, it's one of the better Bond films for me because it tracks
Yep.
Fleming more. It's a darker film. It's a little more serious film for a 1969 film. I love the fact that they didn't even attempt to make a theme song that used the title in the opening. They went with this really strong instrumental piece that I happen to love. I think it's one of John Barry's best pieces after his most famous and popular ones. So I'm gonna give it 3.75. I've seen it a number of times. I don't think
Wow.
it drags. I think it moves pretty quickly. I know it's very much of a time in filmmaking, but I don't hold that against it anymore. So, um, you know, James Bond will return in a month and Diamonds Are Forever. So,
Yeah.
It did it. Oh yeah, for us, yes, but it didn't say it at the end of the movie.
yeah, it did.
Yeah, it did in Fandango, it did.
Yeah,
Oh, mine
you
didn't
just
say it.
you weren't paying attention because it's
Maybe I
there.
wasn't paying attention. Because I remember thinking, oh, it doesn't say he's going to return.
No, he
All
returned.
righty, so Unimagined Secret Service is not available on the usual subscription-based streaming services. You have to rent it. Next week, Annie picked Ella Enchanted from 2004. That is on Paramount Plus. There's one for the girls. Yeah.
You got to balance, the testosterone-driven Bond films with the
And the
estrogen
No, I
war
driven
I meant
films.
I
and the
meant the
war
one
film.
that she watched with her girls when they were
Right.
little, because 20 years ago, 22 years ago.
Yes.
Okay, that's it for us. I'm Frank Gaffney. Go watch a movie.
And also with you.
Oh, I have to